I'd just like to thank you. In true Salesforce fashion, there's always a thank you somewhere in there, but truly thank you for our current customers. We've grown in leaps and bounds. Product has grown in leaps and bounds. We've just passed our 10,000 event um, milestone. So that's 10,000 events that have been hosted on our platform, hundreds of thousands of different registrations, hundreds of thousands of different check-ins. So we're really excited. We see the product growing from strength to strength. And hopefully today we'll show you some things that are going to take the product to the next level. And these are features and functionalities that have actually been driven by you. Um, our current customers, our future customers, um, prospects, etc., people that have taken an interest in our product and used it and enjoyed it and asked questions and driven the innovation. And we do encourage that, right? We are not a closed shop. We thrive on the ethos of Salesforce. So that is like, if we can build it, we'll try build it. And you'll see that in our product demonstration today. There are features that all of you have sort of chipped in along the way. Just a big up to our demo and our beta clients. So these are clients that have been using these features, these functionalities over the last few months. And they've just really allowed us to sharpen that functionality. So when we actually release it, it's as close to perfect as we would like it to be. Again, the reason why I'm telling you all this is if you do have some innovative ideas, if you do have some things that you would like to see in the product, just get a hold of us, right? Reach out to the support team, reach out to myself, reach out to our product managers, and let us take in your requirements and build that out. I'm pretty sure all of you that have been on the call today at some stage have sent in a case or messaged one of us and like asked for a new feature. And I know over the years you've seen those features come into play. And if not, hopefully your features will be out real soon. So again, just thank you so much. Now, for today, we've got quite a busy session. Basically, the agenda is going to be focusing around our booking wizard functionality. And I'm not going to sit here and read through the agenda because you guys all have it. It's all being sent to you. It's quite a few items there. But in a nutshell, for this specific release, we're going to be focusing on our booking wizard, which is a major capability. It's a new capability. It brings a new dynamic to the product. And then we're going to be talking a bit about our campaign syncing. And that's been something that a lot of you have been asking for over the last couple of years, months. And that just alleviates you having to manually sort of like manage campaigns, manage events, and sync that data sort of independently. Now we have the ability for you to manage that all within the platform. So without any future or any further delays, sorry, I'm going to actually move on to a live demo of the product. I know a lot of you are clients, so you would be familiar with this view right now. And some of you, it's going to be totally new. So first of all, I'm not going to surprise anyone. The product is 100% native to Salesforce. So what that actually means is that it is installed in your Salesforce environment. If you have access to Salesforce, you can access our application. That also means that you leverage off all the pros of Salesforce, the infrastructure, the security, the uptime, the reporting, all the amazing things that actually drove you to buy the platform in the first place is all accessible in our application. So by show of hands, are we all able to see the screen at the moment? Amazing. So let's jump straight into things. First on the agenda for today, team, is the booking wizard. And what dynamic does the booking wizard bring to the product? Essentially, the booking wizard is a new type of event creation mechanism. So we're all familiar with the linear event creation. You create an event, you add a form to that event, you add some tickets to that event. And when somebody is registering for that event, it's generally a one-to-one transaction. Kyle registers for that event. Kyle buys the ticket for that event. Kyle gets the communications. Thank you for registering, follow-ups, reminders, etc. But the dynamic has changed in the sense that Now the product supports the idea of group bookings, where Kyle can book on behalf of a bunch of individuals. Kyle can book on behalf of himself, but he can book a couple of tickets as opposed to just one ticket. We've also changed the way that the forms work for this mechanism, and we've changed a few things in the background to accommodate different communications. So without any further delay, I'm going to jump straight into the demo. So first things first, we have our new event. For today, we're not going to create one from scratch. We're all familiar with that. We've got our new event, which is the Booking Wizard event. As usual in our platform, we can preview that event page before we move forward. So we can actually go and preview that page. My marketing team has done an amazing job in putting this page together. As the event manager, I can peruse through the page to make sure I am happy with everything. I can check my agenda. For those of you who were not on our previous session, I see that Ivan is not able to see the screen. Is that just isolated, or is everyone not seeing the screen right now? Okay, seems like it's isolated. Ivan, maybe leave and just rejoin the session. Okay, so for agenda, for those of you who were not on our previous webinar, these sessions are now bookable, so people can actually register for your event. Once they've registered, they can actually go and book for those sessions, which is a cool feature. We have the ability to go and have a look at our different speakers. We can view our venue. And just the other day, I actually had a question around, we really like the ability to add text and information to the venue, but we would also like to add some images. So we do have the image carousel feature. It's basically located on the venue object. I noticed a lot of you are not using it, so just a heads up, you can add images in a carousel format directly to your venue. That helps people navigate to the venue, obviously. Right, I can also then just have a look at a custom tab that the team has put together. So as an event manager, I am super happy with my page and I'm ready to take on new registrations. So what do I notice? I notice we have a different sort of view. So if you were involved in the previous release, if you watched our videos or any of our training content, you would have noticed we added a new view. So we have a tabular view, which has been around for a couple of years now. We also have the menu view. So the menu view allows you to view the tabs at the top of the screen, just like this. And it also gives you a modal registration. So instead of having the form sort of like embedded in the page at all times, you now have that ability to click on the modal. When you click on the modal with our new booking wizard, and the reason why we call it a booking wizard is it now has a staged approach to registration. So there's different milestones that you need to go to in order to book. Now, before I actually do this booking, let's jump back to the back end, because I know most of you on the call today are individuals that are using the product, building your own events. So we're going to go in a bit of back end content here. So when I navigate back to my event, you will notice we have a couple of new features, a couple of new fields, etc., that are called booking options. The booking options will determine what type of registration you want to do. Do you want to use the linear registration, which is the registration that we've had over the last couple of years? Then you can absolutely use that. Remember, we try and accommodate all of our clients. We don't want to radically change our product. A lot of you are very happy with the current functionality. You can leave that as is. You do not have to change to this platform. You do not have to change to these new functionalities. If you want to, it's super easy. You change to the booking wizard. You have a new type of a form, which is a booker form. Now, what that does is when Kyle lands on the page to do the booking, Kyle might be the person that is doing the booking and also attending your event. However, Kyle might be a coordinator, might be a PA for an executive team, might be an event planner that's adding a whole bunch of people to the event. So we've got this new idea of a booker. The booker is the person that does the initial booking, and it's also a person that can be linked to the booking. For that booker, you might ask specific questions. So you might need to take in some additional details around that booker that you may not, or you may ask your delegates. This is a basic form, so you'll see when I go back to my actual page, super basic. Again, it's customizable. You can have much more content. You can add your own custom fields, etc. The next thing is the delegate comms. So when we were running our POC and clients were using this capability, some clients came back to us and said, hey guys, we love this concept of, a booker doing a booking and registering for themselves or registering for a group of individuals, but we don't actually want everyone to receive the same communications. So the PA who's booking the executive experience, they might be privy to some of the things like what is the price? What is the high level basket? Like, who are we adding to this event? How many tickets are we adding? How many people are we adding? How much is this going to cost? So we actually included this feature that can actually remove those comms from the end delegates, the end users. So the people who are actually going to be attending the event, they may never know what the cost of the event is. They may never know how many tickets were purchased. They'll just get their one-to-one comms like they always have. Thank you for registering. Here's your details. Here's a QR code. Here's the Zoom link. So that gives you a bit of dynamism in how you actually structure that. Another feature that was added in since version 3 to 3.1 was a timeout. So clients that were using the product came back to us and said, guys, this is great, but we have high volume events. We have a whole bunch of people trying to buy those tickets. We don't want our clients to be holding on to tickets for an indefinite amount of time and then allow us to have to like go in and remove the tickets from their profile. So we created this really cool feature, which is timeouts. I'm sure you've seen it on like ticketing platforms where you can insert timeouts. So if you want to only give somebody 2 minutes to do their booking, you can do that. You can also increase that limit thereafter. What I mean by that is there's a big group that's trying to do the booking, but Joe Soap has lost the company credit card and has now timed out his booking. Joseph gets on the call with you, sends you a message, says, hey, listen, I've filled in a whole bunch of people's details. I don't want to lose that. Can you just give me a few more minutes? You can actually increase that. So I could say, cool, I want to give another 5 minutes. And that will then allow that person to complete their booking without any interruptions. So again, this feedback is from our clients. So thank you all. You all know who you are, who gave us that feedback. Thank you for allowing the rest of our clients to take advantage of this capability. Lastly, we have a back-end timeout. So that's slightly different. Front-end timeout is the user. They eventually get stopped from doing what they're doing. Backend will release the ticket. So in the backend, it will remove the link between that person and the ticket, frees up the ticket, allows the next person to book that ticket. So those are the different timers that we've added. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do a booking. So it's pretty much as simple as this. You add in your booking options. The rest of the stuff all stays the same. Like the different types of registrations, open enrollments, invitations, anonymous, open enrollments for contacts. So that's quite a new feature. Only if you're a contact in Salesforce can you register for the event. Pretty cool feature for member-based organizations, etc. So now what we'll do is we'll do the booking. So again, I'll open that homepage. You can still use invitations. So you can still invite your delegates, RSVP them, etc., etc. So what I'll do is I'll click register. I'll put in my email address. Hopefully I'll spell it right. put in my name, put in my email, and I will click next. Now, you'll notice that we have some additional tickets. So this is essentially one of the biggest changes in the platform. But where do these tickets come from? So as you're familiar with the ability to add ticket types, you were always able to do this. You were able to add some tickets. You were either able to pull from a template. You were able to create one-on-one tickets. When you created previous tickets, it was like a one-to-one transaction. So it was one ticket for one person. That ticket could be named slightly different. So it could be named table for 4 or luncheon for 6. But it was only really only sent to that individual person who was doing the ticket. The other people that were booking wouldn't be privy to the fact that that ticket was added. Another use case is zero rated tickets. So a lot of you have said to us, guys, we don't run paid for events, but we do have a golf day, and we need to know who those 4 people are. Or we having an event and we want somebody to bring a guest. We want to know who that guest is. So now we can accommodate that without any issue. What we do when we actually create the tickets, there's a slight difference. We're not only inserting the name, where you want it to display in your list of tickets, how many are available, what is the currency, what is the price, what is the display, is it early bird, is it not early bird? But now we can add allocations. So this ticket could be for 4 people. It's a 4-ball for a golf day. And feedback we got from our clients was that, guys, our current systems are really frustrating because people can only check out a booking if they've put everyone's details in the booking. Now, we're losing a lot of ticket purchases. We're losing a lot of revenue. We're getting a lot of dropout because not everybody knows who their guest is going to be, right? Not everybody knows who needs to go on the training course. So we've allowed a feature that allows incomplete assignment. And this is a game changer for our clients, because a game changer for you, because it allows people to still do the transaction, meaning you get the money in the bank and they can still do the booking. At a later stage, they can come back and they can add the additional people. Same for free tickets. Remember, zero rated tickets, tickets that are not paid for. You can do the same thing. People can book for like a gala dinner, and then they don't know who they want to bring. At a later stage, they can update that. So you can say allow incomplete bookings. You can also have a different form for the booker and the guest. Again, this is a really cool feature. It means that the booker might have additional things like that they need to complete. Maybe they need to sign a waiver on behalf of the team. Maybe they need to give like hotel details and all that good stuff. But like the other guests don't need to put much information because maybe they're not a client. Maybe they're just a guest and you just want to have their contact details so you can at least get a hold of them, or you just want to have their dietary requirements so at least you can serve them the right dish, right? So those are the new capabilities, and I will show you what that looks like. So we have an open enrollment, which is a free ticket. Amazing. Super happy. It's for a quantity of 1. We then have a luncheon for 2 people. And we are allowing guests, meaning that we'll have a different form. So we have this form for the main person. We have this form for the secondary people. And we also allow unassigned. Beautiful. So how does that look on the front end? So our free tickets, we can add 1, but this is even better, right? We can add 2 or 3 or 4. So I'm going to add 2 of those, right? And I'm going to add 1 luncheon. I'll click next. For the free tickets, I can assign it to myself. It already has my details because I was the booker. So that's a cool feature. It will just inherit whatever details I inserted as the booker. I don't have to reinsert that data. That makes things a whole bunch easier. I will add a new person, and I could have had a different form for this, but I just used the same one here. So I'll add Jax. and I'll confirm that. And then for the luncheon, I will assign one to me, and you see how now I have a different form. So that's great. So based on each ticket could have different requirements. The luncheon is going to ask for dietary requirements, seating requirements, whereas the open entry, there's no food served, so you just have basic details. So we're going to go back to this, and how that's our expiration, right? So I set it to 2 minutes, so it's kicking in. So it's saying to me, you have 51 seconds until your booking will expire. Do you wish to extend the time? I'm going to say yes, and I better stop talking and start filling in this form. Dietary requirements for this person. Actually, Jacqueline is vegan, and I'll confirm. For this ticket, I will leave it unassigned. I'll then click next. And you'll notice that we now have this transaction page, which is pretty cool, right? So this transaction page is saying, this is your ticket, open entry. The group size is 1, but you've got 2 of those, and they are 0 rated. The luncheon, you've got a group size of 2. Allocated tickets is 1 out of the 2, and you've only got 1. I want to continue with my booking. You'll also see over here, do you want to send comms to the delegates? I do, but I do not want to see the price. I don't want to send the price to the delegates. It doesn't concern them. They can still pay now, or they can pay later. So we've kept that functionality. We know a lot of your clients are still paying via check, they're paying via ACH, they're paying via EFT, wire, etc. So you can use either or. The pay now functionality, again, is integrated into a payment gateway of your choice. And I wish it was this easy to buy things. It would be really cool. But for now, we'll just put in our generic card details, and we'll be able to do that transaction. Okay, so now we have successfully completed that booking. Our system will take us back to an overview page of essentially what we've booked. And this is really nice. I can cancel, I can assign those tickets. Remember, I left that one ticket unassigned. I can actually go back and I can assign that ticket. I can view all my bookings that I have. I can make a new booking. I can even go look at up and coming events. So I can go look at, remember, your landing page that shows all your up and coming events. I can look at that as well. What's great about this is we also have state management. So state management means that the person can actually log out of that session, and at a later stage, they can come back to that session. And instead of coming through the URL, remember, like in previous versions, they received the email and that said, hey, you haven't completed your payments, you haven't completed your bookings, click on this URL to do that. They can just go to the landing page and they can go back to their bookings. Now, in true security fashion, once they do this, you can still enable the OTP functionality. So you can trigger off OTP, or you can leave that off. That is a decision that you guys need to make, whether you want to trigger that OTP or you want to keep that OTP sort of disabled. So let me just go to my comms and just quickly grab my OTP code. Submit that. And that will bring up my bookings. So because this is my sort of like test user, I have a ton of bookings. I think I have probably about 100. So that's taking a bit of time. But ultimately, it will bring up the ones that are still valid for this particular event. So for this particular event, I abandoned one of my carts. I canceled one, I completed one, and there's still some registration. So this one, I can actually go back and I can update. So that's a really cool feature that we've now added, where we keep state. A user can go back, they can go and view all of their bookings they've made. and they can actually choose which ones they want to update, which ones they want to cancel. Do they want to go and update the information for those specific delegates? Okay, so what does that look like on the front end? And guys, I'm just conscious of time, so if you do have questions, post them in the chat. The team can try and get back to you. And if we have time for Q&A at the end, we'll definitely do some Q&A, but we also encourage you to reach out for one-to-one sessions with us. Right, so if we go back to the back end and we go onto our delegates, we will now notice that we have the ability to manage bookings. So if you use the previous registration mechanism, you just have delegates, which is fine because a lot of you are still using free events that just are one-to-one, online trainings, webinars, etc., etc. If you decide to use the group functionality, what it does is it creates a booking. And in that booking, it tells you who was the person doing the booking. So you know who to reach out to if there's an issue with the booking, if the payments gave issues, etc., etc. We also have for that booking who is linked to that booking. So that gives you a nice grouping where you can exactly like the requirements you are asking. Hey, Kyle, I want to see who booked for my event and who their guest was. So now we're creating a delegate for both of those records. And that gives you the ability to communicate with both of those records without the need for a guest field or something like that. Okay. We then also give you financial transactions, which is really useful functionality. So you can start reporting on each one of those financial transactions independently of one another. Now, some of you might be asking, what is the purpose of that? The purpose of that is it does allow for incomplete transactions. So what that means is this financial transaction was completed via credit card and the full amount was done, right? You can see that this is your payment gateway transaction ID, so you can check that against your transaction account. You can see that the transaction was a success, and you will also see that there's no amount owing because the transaction was completed. However, what happens if somebody did a partial transaction? Like they try to pay via check, or they did an EFT and they didn't account for fees or whatever the case. What you can now do is you can create new financial transactions in our system, which will accumulate. So say, for instance, they only paid a down payment of 50% and they needed to pay the extra 50% after the event. You could actually then create a new payment transaction, put in how much was still due. That transaction would be then deducted or added, to the total, and that would net out the total. So that gives our event managers the ability to do partial transactions and then to actually account for those transactions till you get a net out. When it nets out, the transaction then becomes completed and you can send completion communications to the event booker, notifying them that the event has now been fully paid up. So yeah, a very nice addition. As I mentioned to you, the booking items talks about, for instance, the single booking items as well as the double quantities. So you can see for each ticket that was purchased, who was linked to that ticket, was there a transaction taking place? How much of that transaction was taking place? And what's beautiful about this is this all translates into standard Salesforce reports and dashboards. So you can get a beautiful dashboard showing you exactly where everybody is in that process. Right. So going back to our comms, one of the things we obviously had to work hard on doing was making sure that our comms engine still worked, because that is a major capability in our product. That is a capability that most of you are using, most of you are loving. We could not release a product that did not make use of that capability. So we have essentially tied that into the whole process, and we have added additional trigger points. We've also added additional trigger rules. So different trigger rules, different trigger points, and those are just triggering off data, different data allocations. So let's actually go to a delegate that was completed. So let's go to this one. You'll see that she received the RSVP confirmation, and she will receive the reminder to attend a day before that event. So how cool is that? That functionality still stays true. We still use the ability to communicate with the actual people that the tickets are assigned to, but we also have new confirmation information. So let me show you what that is. So if I scroll down, in the RSVP confirmation, you will see some new statuses. Now I just need to get rid of this Zoom thing so I can go to my email and you can see what that looks like. So let me quickly take you through this. So you'll see over here that we now have the ability to view not only the booking information, but the ticket information as well. So which ticket that person was actually assigned to, which is an awesome feature, as well as the QR code for check-in. Okay, right. So in terms of the booking wizard, those are the majority of the key functionalities that have been added. We are obviously going to be enhancing this. So there's already there'll be a downloadable release tomorrow with a couple of last minute hot fixes, enhancements that we've added. But the idea is that everything you're seeing right now, you'll be able to install from tomorrow. You'll be able to use all of that capability. Okay, right. Moving on to the next point. The next point is taking you through the campaign sync. Okay, so how does that work? Campaign sync is an important part to a lot of your processes. If you're using account engagement, formerly known as Pardot, if you're using Marketing Cloud, or maybe you're just using campaigns because you've always used campaigns and you've got a lot of data sitting in campaigns and you do not want to have to like take that data out, put it in events, we get it, right? So previously we could sync to campaigns, we could sync from campaigns to campaigns, but the statuses would just default to the default statuses. What we are doing now is we are giving you the ability to map that. And I'm sure there's quite a few of you that are super excited. So what does that look like? So on the event, we'll go to the marketing section. And I always encourage my people that I train up on how to use the product, just minimize the sections that you don't actually need. Right, then go to the marketing section. Under the marketing section, you'll see that there's campaigns. You can link a campaign to your event. So I'm going to link this campaign that I previously created. I'm going to save that. Now, before I decide whether I want to sync delegates from an event, so i.e. new people that have registered from this event to my campaign, or sync from a campaign to event, I want to just look at the campaign itself. So I click on that campaign and I notice that I can add campaign member statuses. So remember, Salesforce gives you the ability to add new statuses. So we could add a status called like, what do we want to call it? Like attended, as an example. And we can save that. So now we got some custom statuses. The standard ones are responded and sent. If you don't know how to get rid of those, you can literally just delete them and add your custom ones. So we've got a couple of custom statuses. We're going to go back to our event now. So I'm just going to go back in the browser. And now I'm going to decide whether I want to sync to this campaign. So I do actually want to sync. And I want to sync when somebody registers. So when somebody registers for this event, if it's linked to a contact or a new lead is created, I want to sync that data back to my campaign. But now I want to sync it to a campaign status. So I say, cool, I want to do that, and I click save. Amazing. What I can then do is, you'll notice we've got some tabs. We've got a new tab called Event Value Mappings, and I can create a new mapping. So I can say delegate status to campaign member status. The reason we've done it this way is because in the future, this will be used for additional things, not only mapping to campaigns, mapping to different objects inside of Salesforce. So we've made it robust and reusable. So we can click on that. We're then going to choose which fields we want to map to. So we're going to say, cool, registration is going to map to the status field on the campaign. And we're going to say when somebody is, let's say like completed as an example, map them to registered and click save. Now we're going to add another mapping. And we're going to say attendance status this time. When somebody is attended, map them to delegate attended on the campaign. Right. So what have we done here? Now, essentially, we've said when somebody registers on my event, with the sync, automatically pull that data onto the campaign and mark them as registered. When somebody actually attends, sync that back to the campaign and mark them as attended. So you can now map our standard fields to your custom event fields using this standard sync. This will run when your campaign job, when your sync runs. Remember, for those of you who are super impatient, you can force that to run. You can just click run campaign sync. It will do it automatically for you, or you can just wait for the job to run. The job runs every hour. It will accumulate that data. You don't have to worry about anything there. So I can already see a bunch of super happy clients with this capability. And this is something, again, that we're going to be continuously enhancing. And that's why we've built it in such a way. So we might add some additional statuses. We might add some additional objects that will leverage off this. Okay. Right. So going back to our tool, now when somebody registers for the event, it will sync to that campaign. A question a customer asked me recently, they said, a client that was beta testing this capability, they said, Carl, like what happens if I just have a completed status? Then ultimately you could still use reg, because at the end of the day, when the person actually attends, it will go to completed. Or you can just always add members to a campaign, and then when they actually attend the event, it will go to completed. So just keep that in mind, right? If you're going to have a campaign sync on register, you need to have as a minimum always or on registration. Like if you say on attendance, then it's not going to sync on register, because it will only sync to the campaign when that person has attended. So that was an awesome question from a client, and I thought it was worth taking you through what that looks like. Awesome. Right. Going on to another functionality that is new to our product, and something that we've been enhancing quite a bit, is accessibility. It's not something that is like really tacit, that is like tangible, rather, that I can actually show you, but we're constantly working on our accessibility. We've been adding quite a bit of new tags, etc., to the application. So every release we release will become more and more accessible. We've also worked on generating banners for our clients. So what does that actually mean? So the banner that I used for the demo today, it fits really nicely. It will scale according to all sizes. So what we've done is we've got our team to actually put together an array of banners. Obviously, they're not going to be specific, but I mean, your team can insert text and stuff in them. But just an array of banners that at a minimum, you can start using, especially for clients that are super new to the product, or if you don't have the time to add your own custom banners, we're going to give you a library of a bunch of banners that are a bunch of different color schemes, different designs, different accommodate different types of environments, different types of events that you will be able to leverage from going forward with your events. So we thought that was a nice touch. Again, going back to the accessibility part, it's not only going to be around images, it's not only around the meta, like the accessible tags and the metadata that's sitting in the product to make it more and more accessible, but we've also packaged a bunch of themes. So with our product, when you're building out the product the first time, you have to select some themes, and we have, our standard themes that we have. But now we've actually packaged a bunch of additional themes. If you don't have those in your platform, just let me know. You might be running an older version. We can give you the details for those themes. And that's just to really give you like an understanding or a boost on the creativity side, like what you can do with a product to get the most out of it to look the best way possible. So that was an important part of this release, is to make sure that all of our clients have beautiful events, accessible events, and events that they can get up and running real quickly. Right. So that is the main capabilities that I wanted to take you through today with regards to booking. Before we take any questions, I am going to talk a bit about some future enhancements to this capability, and then we can jump into questions. So the first one is revolving around anonymous sort of booking. So what that means is Kyle does a booking and he just wants to own all 10 of those tickets without having to ask for input around the tickets. That will be a new functionality that we'll add real soon. That allows Kyle to buy 10. You don't care who those 10 are given to. You just know that that ticket can accommodate 10 check-ins. Then going on to the check-in side, the check-in will accommodate that. So somebody will be able to take that ticket and check that ticket in based on a quota. So if the quota was 5 as an example, they'll be able to check that thing in 5 times, and then it will become depleted and no one else will be able to check in. So that is a feature that's on the roadmap of group bookings. Another feature that's on the roadmap for our comms and our group bookings is the ability to schedule meetings. So the ability for you to actually send the comms, get people like the information they need about the event, but then also be able to directly invite them to that event. That has been a quite an important requirement, especially for organizations that are running like internal events, training events, where you've got a whole bunch of staff and you just want them to come to the event. So you're just going to send them the meeting request with the comms, and they will be essentially have the ability to add that to their calendar. So those are 2 immediate enhancements that we're going to add to the group booking capability in the next coming months. We do encourage you to reach out to us to give us ideas. Remember, this is quite new functionality. We're pretty sure there's going to be fringe cases. There might be 1 or 2 little gremlins, but there's also going to be cool things that can be added. We've actually built a survey form that we'll be sending out after this event, and I'd encourage you to use that. So as you start using the product, as you start finding features that you would like to add, features that you feel are missing, put that in that form. We'll get that, we'll add that to our backlog, and we'll try our best to make that backlog as visible as possible. Awesome. So what we'll do now is we can go into any questions because we have a bit of time, which is great. And I'll be free to answer them. If I can't answer them, maybe one of my teammates can jump in, or I'll get back to you at a later stage. Let me actually also just open up the chat to see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, so have these features been released? So absolutely, our hotfix release will be released tomorrow. That will be the latest version. So actually, I would encourage everybody to just download and install that version. That will be the most. Kate, so excited about these features, loving them. That's amazing. I'm not sure what that was referring to, but maybe the group bookings, maybe the campaigns. Melanie, I saw yours come up around campaigns syncing. I know that your team are quite heavily involved with Marketing Cloud, so that's going to be a game changer for you. I see, Baha, you've got a question for us?
Yeah, no, no. I already asked the question about the release, and also very excited about the campaign work because we do use Marketing Cloud. Um, my question is a add-on to that, which is obviously I know most of the people on this call are not at our stage, but we're just implementing this. Will it impact the implementation that we have if we install this at this point? Would you advise installing
No,
the changes at this point, or whilst we're
no, not
testing?
at all. Not at all. So that's an amazing point. Um, when we bring out this product, we spend hours and hours and hours back testing it. If we feel that it's going to have severe functionality degradation on your current environments, then we will actually we will give you the option whether you want to upgrade or not. But as it stands, if you're running on version 2.25 and above, we can get you upgraded to this capability. If you've unfortunately fallen behind, just reach out to us. Mike Bernardez is doing an amazing job getting our clients all up and running, getting them on the latest versions. Team, really, we really want you on the latest versions. You're going to get a lot of functionality. If you are falling behind, get a hold of us. We'll gladly help you upgrade. It's in our best interest to help you upgrade. Um, One of the questions that somebody asked for is they said, hey, we noticed that there were Lightning templates, and you've done an amazing job because there's absolutely Lightning templates that we've now included in the platform. So let me take some time to explain to you how that's working. Currently in our platform, we have two types of communications, right? We have pre-built communications that we basically give you, right? So if I go down to like my related items for this event, you can see I have 12 comms. These are my automated comms, which most of you are familiar with. These are things like, the booker gets a reminder to pay, the confirmation gets sent, the booking gets a reminder, there's an abandoned email, there's a confirmation email, there's a reminder to attend, there's a thank you for attending, there's a survey. Remember, surveys are customizable now from our last release. So if you're not using surveys, use those customizable surveys. They're pretty cool. So these are all of our standard comms, and those standard comms come with standard email templates. Some of these templates are pretty easy to customize. Some of them are not going to be easy to customize, depending on what we need to pull in them. Some of them we require code to dynamically pull in calendars and dynamically pull in QRs and all that stuff. But over the last couple months, we've actually been working really closely with Salesforce. We have a good contact in head office that's doing Marketing Cloud. We spend a lot of time with them to properly integrate our tool now with Lightning emails. Now, obviously, Lightning email templates will have some shortfalls. Right now, we can't inject code into them, but we can use them, which is the number one really useful functionality. So, as an event manager, I might want to send out a quick email, but I don't have an email template and I don't want to use any of the standard emails. So now if you enable Lightning email templates in your environment, it changes the game, right? You can click new template. You can give it a name. So we can call it 3.1 booking. We can choose what it's linked to. So it might be linked to contacts. Maybe you just want to send it to your contacts, invite them to your event. Maybe you want to link them to your delegates. So we'll go delegates. You can give it a description. Remember, save it either in the Eventspark folder or save it in a folder that is shared with Eventspark. If you're not familiar how to do that, just let us know. You click next, you give it a subject, and this will be like invite as an example. You click save. Now, this is the difference with the Lightning templates, which I'm sure a lot of event managers will really like. Now you can click Edit Builder. In the builder, you just build everything out, right? You say, I want to have a 2-column, but on top of that, I want a 1-column. And in that 1-column, I want to add an image. And for that image, I want to select from my files, and I want to use, maybe I want to upload it from my PC. So I just upload a new image. I choose a component. Again, maybe I want to add another image for whatever reason. I choose the image. I select maybe this dashboard as my image. And lastly, I want to add a button or some HTML or some rich text. So maybe we add a button. We give it a name. We can say invite. You can take the link to your event. You can paste it in there, save it. Beautiful. So we've just created our first template. Looking really cool. We can preview it on a phone. We can preview it on mobile, etc. So how do we send this? Well, now this is the difference, right? You can now add this to a comms rule. So if you have some comms rules, you can go and add it to those comms rules, which is really cool. So you could go back to a comms rule that's linked to your event and link it to one of these rules, or you could send it as an ad hoc email. So if I go to an event that I might want to reach out to some people for, so maybe this London Marathon event, I can click send comms. I can say to anyone who's, pending registration as an example, and then I can choose the template that I created. So now you have access to those lightning email templates, which previously you did not have. So you can choose the email template you want, and you can send that ad hoc using the platform. And I think that was a super important thing for a lot of our clients, because of the fact when you need to send ad hoc comms, you were very much tied to kind of knowing how to do classic email templates. Now with the Lightning email templates, you really have the ability to customize those emails as much as possible. And as we start using this capability more and more, we will start embedding our standard calendar views, our QR codes. We will embed those into those Lightning emails. So not only will you have the ability to quickly create an email template, but you'll also have the ability to say embed calendar quick add or embed QR code quick add, and that will just give it a whole bunch of dynamism. Cool. So thank you for the reminder. Going to some of these features, I'm just going to go back. Then I see Baha, you got your hand up again. Can one of these features be used as a consulting session, a one-off, a one-on-one session? So you can do that, Severin. We have examples of clients that are doing that, where they're cloning events and they're using it sort of as like a Calendly type thing. We're going to have the ability to mass clone real soon. So that is a capability. Remember, the group booking will work with your virtual platforms. So that's even better. It will work with the in-person, it will work with the virtual, and you can also use it for those one-on-one interactions. Joey, as the session bookings are not mandatory, sometimes, sorry, something just popped up on my screen. Sometimes delegates just register for the event and forget to do the sessions. What can we do about this? Okay, Joey, so this is a contentious thing, right? People pay for the event. It's kind of like, how do you make a session mandatory, because they're booking for the event? So maybe by virtue of that person booking for the event, the session should be mandatory anyway. So we've kind of gone around in circles a bit around this capability. What I'd love to do, Joey, is I see we've got Derek on the call. He's our CIO. Let's have a open session. Tell us what your thinking is behind that. And we can look, making a session mandatory is not a hard thing to do, but it's just the logic behind it. It's like, why? Like the why. Why do you make it mandatory? So super happy to have that discussion with you. And if more clients on this call want to make sessions mandatory, send us a mail. that will help, and send us why you think it needs to be mandatory. That way we can get the ideas, the ideas going. Alex, thank you. In a group booking, can you cancel and refund the amount for the individual without refunding and canceling the entire ticketing? So when somebody does a transaction, the ticket, the entire basket is handed over to the payment gateway. So from the payment gateway, you would then need to do the refunds. Now, this is going to be different per different payment gateways on how much you can refund, how you can do refunds. So it would be good for you to just let us know kind of like what payment tool you're using. We'll then be able to work out what the limitations are. Remember, we integrate into like an enormous amount of payment gateways, like 25 known payment gateways, but there's a bunch more that we do integrate into. And each payment gateway deal with transactions slightly differently. Some of them give very little detail around the transaction. Some of them give a whole bunch of detail. Some of them have different refund policies, etc. So if you can just let us know, pop us a comms, let us know what payment gateway you're using, and we can figure out if those sort of partial refunds are available. From the front end of our app, that will not be available. Like you can cancel the booking or you can cancel the ticket, you can refund the ticket, but that's just a status thing. The actual refunds need to take place in the back end, and we do that for good reason, because we don't necessarily want users fiddling with financial information. Okay, and that takes us on to the hour. So if there aren't any more questions, I would just like to thank everybody for joining the session today. Some amazing feedback, some really cool functionality. If you need advice on getting upgraded, if you need advice on how you can move forward with Eventspark, reach out to our team. We are super happy to help you. We are here for you all the way. We encourage you to get upgraded. We'll even do it for you. Let's take it forward from there. So thank you again. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here, and hopefully we'll get to chat real soon. Bye bye, everyone.